That doggy dog in the mother effing building. Yeah. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph of Bethlehem. Yeah. That was absolutely nuts. Yeah. What we just witnessed, there's so much to cover from so many different angles. And in case you haven't figured this out, I don't prep these videos and I don't have any notes before or during. And so apologies if this is going to be all over the gaff, right? But strap in, yeah, pop a Viagra and listen up. I told you guys I was excited about this fight. I told you I haven't been this excited for a heavyweight fight since the last time Woodley fought because stylistically, this was always going to be a monster. I actually had hotel tickets booked in Manchester, but then I kind of like and ahed, and basically the fight tickets where I wanted to sit weren't available, and then I just kind of like buoyed it off. And I'm glad. I'm glad because around about the 10th round, I had had enough. So I didn't watch the end of the fight. I've read about the end of the fight and I've watched it on the highlights. So I know what happened. But after the 10th round, when Howard Foster sent him to the corner and the doctors let it continue, I'm good at that point because, you know, it was too hard to watch. And as much as I like this sport, and I think that fight showed us the full spectrum, it showed us everything that's unbelievably good about the sport and everything that unbelievably sucks. And I just don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. Let's give it a go. Let's just try and analyze the fight. So from the first round, Wardley was very sharp, knocked him down, top of the head, flash knockdown in the first 10 seconds. Credit to Dubois, he got back up, and you could definitely tell that there was a speed difference and there was, I guess you could say, a skill difference, right? Or at least an improvisational skill. Wardley with the level changes, Wardley with the feints, Wardley with a sharper jab. And I felt like even in the first round that he was making a mistake with the telegraph right hand. I really didn't feel like he needed to chase Dubois because there was definitely speed gap. Dubois was coming to bring, blood and fire early on, and I felt like he could have just picked him off. I felt like he could have just caught him coming in, but Wardley was trying to be aggressive and be on the front foot as well, and he was wasting a lot of energy with those big winging right hands. But you got to give credit to Dubois, and I think a point I'll make now before I forget it is that when you have a war like this, it's very easy to wax lyrical about the guy who lost but showed an unbelievable amount of courage. And so you should, right? But it's very important, I think, to not like do the victor dirty in the process. Do you know what I mean? Let's give Dubois his flowers. Like he's the man that won the fight. He's the man that got dropped early. So I think the first knockdown was in the first, and then I think the second knockdown was either in the third or the fourth round. And again, winging shot on the side of the head this time. But Wardley was on top, but I wasn't feeling his tactics. I wasn't feeling his tactics at all. I thought he was taking unnecessary risks. I thought he was shipping unnecessary punches, and I thought he was expending unnecessary energy, and that might be a problem towards the end. I was thinking that look, Dubois is coming heavy. He's coming to try and bring the pain early. Why not let him expend his energy? Just keep on doing what you're doing, right? The way to beat Dubois psychologically. Now, listen, there's only one Usyk. It's far be it for me to sit here and say, "Oh, you should have done what Usyk did." Like, shut the fuck up. Like, there's like nobody can do that. But I still think the Wardley could have taken some inspiration from that and just, try to beat him mentally, right? And let him expend his energy because we know Wardley can bring it in the latter half of the fight. But, he was kind of just going to war. And ultimately, against the bigger, stronger, heavier guy, um, he really just uh, lost a lot of energy missing with these big telegraph punches, putting everything in it. And that really does tire you out. And it was just absolute carnage in there. I mean, I'm guessing if you're still watching, you watch the fight, right? But it was literally like I felt Sylvester Stallone would have been embarrassed to put that in a Rocky movie. Do you know what I mean? It was so unrealistic. It was so over the top. It was so much of a caricature. It was almost like AI generated, like, and you turn the ridiculousness up to like 100%. Yeah, it was that type of affair, and I guess the technical analysis has kind of gone a bit out the window here. But you know, as the commentators pointed out, Dubois' fundamentals, as one would expect, the caliber of people that he's fought, the route that he's gone down, were superior to Dubois. He had the better footwork, he had the better fundamentals, he had the better jab in the middle rounds. And yeah, he basically took over and bossed the fight in the middle rounds. I cashed out my bet in round five when I could see the tide was turning. So, I made a modest profit on the fight. Um, and I would say rounds five, six, seven. I think Wardley had some success in the eighth when he caught him with the uppercut, and a couple of left hooks went in, and uh, but then it just became all about like heart and guts and just you know uh cojones, and yeah, it got to the point where I want to say this. I would say probably from the eighth or ninth onwards, it was disgusting that the fight didn't get stopped. Absolutely disgusting. Like, and that round, I think it was the ninth where Wardley came out and he couldn't even stand. He couldn't stand up straight. He was like all over the place. Like Howard Foster, we know he's one of the most corrupt people in sport. Like he's been like back in the promoter's boy since like Froch Groves, right? And it's happened multiple times since then. He's bailed Wardley out in the last fight, and and like and the corner, honestly, Greater Manchester Police need to arrest Wardley's corner. Like honestly, they deserve jail time. Like for them to just like look the other way and not throw in the towel when their fighter couldn't even stand up straight. He's like his nose, obviously, we know Wardley's got a dodgy nose for a while, but he's got one eye shut, the other eye is like maybe 50% shut. He can't stand up straight. His equilibrium's gone. He's probably got two burst eardrums. Yeah. Um, it was disgusting, man. And obviously, Great Manchester Police have got other priorities. They're probably like arresting people for tweets or something, or or like protesting the gangs, or protecting the gangs. Do you know what I mean? But like honestly, like boxer size Ben and the rest of Wardley's corner, they need to be sacked, man. Especially given it's a voluntary defense and there's a rematch clause. You heard Uncle Frank confirm it, in the post-fight interview with Ade. There's a rematch clause. Of course there is. It's a voluntary defense, and Wardley, like you have to say in hindsight, um, he bit off a bit more than he could chew, and he rolled the dice a few too many times. He got away with it in these last two fights, and maybe like this was the time. Hindsight's a beautiful thing to have taken a lighter touch. He's just come through two very grueling fights where he was behind, and the ref was kind of early to stop it. And maybe this was one to just work on his skills a bit, build up his profile a bit, um, see if he could get a fight at Ipswich Stadium, with his world title, and then, take a fight like this. But hey, that's all easy to say. I mean, 4 rounds in, he's 2 knockdowns up, and he's loving life, right? But yeah, in hindsight, I guess the bookmakers that had Dubois a slight favorite, ChatGPT, as much as I hate to admit it, was right. I had a pretty intense debate, but it wasn't budging. It liked Dubois, and it was right. Um, but what a warrior, man! What an absolute warrior! And this is why I love Fabio Wardley, man. Like, in case it didn't come across in the last video, this guy is just an absolute animal and is one of the most exciting fighters there's like in my living memory that has ever come out of British boxing, man. Like he is right up there, mate. He is right up there. And like to have come as far as he's come in the time that he's done it in and the style that he's done it in, it really is like movie worthy. And I really hope that he takes some time out. I really hope like he probably takes a year out after that, you know, like bun the rematch clause. Like usually these things they kind of have a 6 month expiry on them. But he ain't gonna be ready in 6 months' time. And I think that fight, that fight was so incredible. Like there'll always be a market for the rematch. Do you know what I mean? There'll always be a market for the rematch. Maybe he won't get the exact terms, that he might have wanted, but like if Dubois ends up going in against Moses Atalma next, like I mean, like he's a nutcase, but secondly, like you'd have to say logically or it's unlikely that he comes through that fight. And so, if Dubois has got another loss on his record, then maybe things equal themselves out from a commercial point of view. But look, um, I just hope that Wardley's okay. I hope both guys are okay. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I couldn't watch the end. Um, and so yeah, I hope they're both okay. I hope they both of them fight for a long time. Wardley, I hope he doesn't fight for another year. I hope he enjoys his money and prioritize his health. And in that time, he can find another head coach, or at the very least, a new team. So yeah, mad team. Get in the comments, man. If you watched the fight, what did you think? And if you didn't, what you doing with your life?